Teachers often tell parents what they already know. Their child has trouble focusing and paying attention. Girls can have the same problems, but Adler says the symptoms are often more quiet, like with this former patient.
She had difficulty paying attention in class, was seen as daydreaming. Comments on the report cards were underperforming, not meeting potential.
23-year-old Diani Levy had similar problems focusing, and she got labeled as lazy.
Most of my teachers used to call my mom also almost on a daily basis, hey, she's not finishing her work, that I was like not paying attention and like looking around and listening to everything but them.
By the time she got to college, Levy's difficulties got worse. She couldn't sit through a 2-hour lecture. She had to get up and move around. When it took her classmates 45 minutes to read a 20-page assignment, it took her 3 to 4 hours.
I couldn't focus to get it all done at once. I needed to do something in between and just read a bit now and then reread a little bit and keep reading. So it was very hard to get my reading assignments done.
What happened to Levy is typical, says psychiatrist Adler. If people aren't diagnosed and treated in childhood, when they become adults and go to college or get a job, symptoms become harder to cope with because life is more complicated. Add responsibilities of a family, and life can become overwhelming for many women.
They've got to take care of their kids, be sure they get out the door, go to work, manage all the things in the workplace, and maybe managing others at work if they've been lucky enough to be in a managerial position. Then come home, get dinner on the table, be sure the kids do their homework, pay the bills, deal with your spouse. This is a very different life than an elementary-age school girl, where you're sitting in a classroom and the homework's handed to you.
The good news, says Adler, women are more likely to seek out help, see a doctor, get into therapy than men. And this is one of the reasons why more young women may be being diagnosed with ADHD. Diana Levy is now in grad school. The College Health Center suggested she see Dr. Adler, and within days she was on treatment, taking medication. The change, she says, was nearly immediate.
I can get things done. I can get them done on time without excuses. I used to be the queen of excuses. I'm actually reading a book for fun for the first time in a good 5 years, and I'm almost done with my book.
Levy wishes she'd been diagnosed earlier. Maybe she could have been an A student, she says, and her SAT scores might have been better. Tony Wilson is a neuroscientist at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. He says medication works for adults like Levy because it increases levels of chemicals in the brain that strengthen communication networks between different regions.
When patients have stronger networks, they're better able to do a variety of things, from holding their attention on goal-directed activity to solving mental problems, to better able to focus on the task at hand, whatever it is.
A sort of calming effect that can set the stage for more effective coping skills, often learned through behavior therapy. Now, there are some risks. ADHD drugs can increase blood pressure and heart rate, so patients need to be monitored on a regular basis. Patty Neiman, NPR News.
Okay, in our next story, we're focusing on one way to prevent mistakes with medications. Each year, millions of errors occur in the United States, and many of them are fatal. Now, some hospitals, hoping to catch mistakes early, are hiring their own pharmacists. Lauren Silverman from member station KERA has this report from the Children's Medical Center in Dallas, which has put more pharmacists in the ER than any other pediatric hospital in the country.
Scattered throughout the ER at Children's, there's what looks like vending machines, except instead of chips and cookies, they're stocked with medicine.
And you can see, we have oxygen supplies up here, we have different suction supplies down here.
Dr. Rustin Morse is Vice President of Quality and Chief Quality Officer. He explains not only is there a pharmacy in this ER, there are pharmacists 24 hours a day.
Every single order that I put in is reviewed in real time by a pharmacist in the emergency department prior to the dispensing and the administration of the medication.
That may sound obvious, but Morse says ER doctors are used to jotting down a type and quantity of drugs and moving on. If there's a problem, a pharmacist will hopefully catch it and call later. Here, no drug is given before a pharmacist can verify it's the right one in the right dose.
So it wouldn't be uncommon for me to decide I want to give a specific antibiotic that seems quite appropriate for me clinically. The pharmacist looks at that medication and looks at the 25 other medications this patient is on and realizes that 2 of the medications that I prescribed interfere with each other.
Yes, that happens even at top hospitals. And yes, people die. Every year, more than 7,000 people die from preventable drug interactions, which is in part why hospitals across the country are adding pharmacists to their emergency departments.
What do they look for? The correct patient, the correct weight, the correct dose. Do we have food allergies we have to consider? We look at the cost.
That's Brenda Darling, the clinical pharmacy manager for Children's Medical Center, which has 10 full-time ER pharmacists, more than anyone else in the country. Medication errors are 3 times more likely to occur with kids.
They're not just little adults. They have a completely different metabolic rates that you have to look at, different developmental states, so you have to know your patients.
On any given week, pharmacists at Children's review nearly 20,000 prescriptions and medication orders. That's in addition to automatic reviews by an electronic medical record system designed to essentially spell check orders to prevent errors. The thing is,
the electronic medical record came out with the hope that it would catch all of these things, and it just hasn't.
Dr. James Svensson is Associate Professor of Emergency Medicine at the University of Wisconsin. He co-authored a study in the Annals of Emergency Medicine that showed prescription errors happened with 1 in 10 adults and 1 in 4 kids. And that's with the electronic review. So why doesn't every hospital do this? Svensson says in large part, money.
If you're in a small emergency department, it's hard enough to have adequate staffing just for your patients in terms of nursing and technicians, let alone to have a pharmacist sitting down. If the volume isn't there, it's kind of hard to justify.
Hiring pharmacists is expensive, though Rustin Morse at Children's points to research showing